Good morning. Welcome to Hanging by a Thin Thread, a podcast about all things crafty and fiber related. Walter is here with me briefly. He doesn't like this chair, so he may not sit here long. But I'm in my deck in the backyard, and it's a very cool day, unseasonably cool for a Memorial Day weekend. It's about 60 degrees right now, and we're in mid-morning, so this is really an inclemently cooler day than usual. Hanging by a Thin Thread is coming to you from Kansas City. I'm Shelley, and this is my dog Walter, enjoying the smell of the wonderful summer air, early summer, that feels like fall. And you'll notice, this is episode 44, by the way, you will notice that I am wearing the completed Franny Granny Poncho. This is actually like a swancho. It has sleeves. And when Walter steps down in a moment after he finishes enjoying the beautiful air, I'll show you the whole poncho. But meanwhile, I'll start telling you about it. The Franny Granny Poncho is one that, I'll put the picture up. Hand Jam Crochet created this. Hannah is her name, and she made it in several versions. There is this swancho version with the sleeves and the nice collar up here, and there is a cardigan version now also that she's since made. So you can either do the poncho or the cardigan, and it's made obviously with crochet granny squares, and the central part here that Walter's covering up, there we go, that the central part and the collar are done, and I used Lion Brand Color Theory 2 wands, and I purposely matched this with the other yarn I used, which is the Lion Brand Mandala in the color Centaur. And Centaur has shades of, these are really vintage kind of 70s colors that I love. And it includes like gold, rust, purple, beige, a kind of a mauve color. They're just a really nice, typical 70s colors. Now Walter decided to get down, so I can show you a little bit more. I'll try to stand up. This was done with 23 rows in the main body here after the part at the top. The part at the top, you're connecting like 12 different granny squares and a few different triangles to make the shoulders and the front and the back. And then what I did around the edging, I picked up with knitting. In her tutorial and pattern, she has you doing crochet ribbing, but I just find knitted ribbing is easier for me. So I picked up that with knitting, and the sleeves I also chose to do a knitted version rather than a crochet. But I want to tell you how I did. With the rows of striping, I decided to do one row, color control it, I call it. And I did buy this yarn at Joann's. Sadly, now my store is totally empty. But what I did was, by color control, I mean that I would pick each color and knit the row and then wind off what was left of that color. And then I would just, pick each color as I wanted to go along and add another stripe. So that's how I did it. But it was all with the mandala, using that mandala yarn. I could, I knew the colors would go together well, and I wouldn't have any surprises in poorly matched colors. And it was an inexpensive way to do it too, because with one big ball of mandala, I was able to do this whole poncho. I thought I might need a second ball, so I bought the second one. And I'm sure I'll use this in something else. But I absolutely am in love with this poncho. I couldn't have had it turn out better. And I didn't expect to be able to wear it until fall. And it is obviously fall colors. But I was able to wear it this weekend, the weekend I finished it, because we are having unseasonably cool, rainy weather. So it always is rainy on Memorial Day weekend. But the cooler weather, this cool, is unusual for us in Kansas City. So this is it. I am extremely happy with how it turned out. In fact, lately I was telling Carolyn and some of my other friends that lately my crochet projects have seemed to have turned out better than my knitted ones. I don't know exactly why that is, But I wanted to be sure and bring this to you as soon as I finished it, because I'm just thrilled with it. And, you know, it's an easy to follow pattern. It is a paid for pattern, but she provides a tutorial video with it. So she shows you how to do each thing step by step. And I think for even a newer crocheter, this poncho would be very doable. Well, summer will soon be approaching. We've had a really long, extended, and cool spring for a change, but there's no doubt that we are getting to that time of year where we want to start wearing short sleeves and summer sweaters and summer tops. So I have been, while we've been having the colder weather the past month or so, I have been contemplating on Ravelry the different options I have for making summer tops. And I've been watching also YouTube podcasts where they talk about all their favorite picks for making a wearable sweater this year, probably in cottons and lighter fabric. So I have probably had 10 to 15 different tops that are in my favorites list on Ravelry, but I decided to winnow them down to about my top 3 or 4. And so I thought today I would share with you some of the ones that I am most likely to make. Probably will only get 1 or 2 of these made this summer realistically, knowing my knitting production. But I did want to bring these up to you in case any of these might be of interest to you as well. And I also wanted to show you some of the yarn from my stash that I am thinking of working with on these tops. So if you have any preferences or ideas, be sure and make a comment to tell me below what you prefer. But of course, I'll ultimately choose what I'm most drawn to. But I did want to give you the options I'm considering. First up is one called Glamorous Tea by Victoria Kuhn-Thomas. And it's just a pretty simple little t-shirt with a little bit of lace, I think it has, but it's mainly a glitzy fabric that really does appeal to me. I have not found the right yarn for this yet, and that's the challenge. But here it is. It's just a simple V-neck cropped little tee that you can wear by itself or over a dress. And I do want something, I'd like to be able to find a couple of dresses I really like this summer, either making it myself or if I can find any in the shops. But I think this is really cute, but it does need like a glitzy, sparkly yarn. And I have not found the right yarn for it quite yet, and I don't have it in my stash. So this is one that I really do like, though, and it seems fairly simple. I am looking for fast and simple. Another one that among my favorites is the Lemon Spritz by Marie Green. And if you remember last year, Carolyn and I attended a workshop with Treasure Goddess Christine Long-Dirks. She had at Marie Green workshop, and we learned about using cotton and other plant-based fibers and yarns for our sweaters. And I was very impressed with Marie's designs, but I haven't yet made any. I had wanted to, and at the time, last spring, I purchased, I'll show you here, some wonderful Treasure Goddess orchid colored, this is, Orchid Island, and it's a bamboo linen combination. Very pretty. And I'll show you what it is. I caked some of it up as well. But I didn't get started. I did do a gauge swatch, but I didn't actually get started knitting on it yet. And I was still contemplating several sweaters out of Marie Green's book. But I think what I'm kind of moving toward is an independent pattern of hers that is not in the book. The book I'm talking about is called, well, I can't remember. I'll bring it. I'll put a link to it. But this is the Lemon Spritz. It's a nice little lace top, and it's a tee, and it has some lace that's very charming, and it has some little sleeves. I'm thinking about doing the sleeve differently and not having a tie. She's got a little knitted tie that you can include with it. But I think I'm going to leave the tie off, like my friend Carolyn did. I don't think I need the tie. But other than that, I really like it. And if I make that, it will probably be from the Treasure Goddess yarn. And again, this is the Bamboo Linen Treasure yarn. It's 30% linen, 70% bamboo, and 400 meters, 437 yards. So it should be really light and pleasant to wear. So this is a strong contender of what I will make. And according to Carolyn, it's a really fast, easy make. Another thing I'm thinking about is the Patty Lyons Tortola blouse. This might be a little bit, it kind of goes up in the front, scooped up in the waist area, the stomach area, and longer in the back. And so it's kind of a charming little design. Well, it is a charming little design, and it has some lace work also. This would, possibly a yarn I would use for this would be, here we go, this yarn I purchased from Hobie called Acacia, and it's a really pretty kind of teal, light teal color, and the weight of the yarn is it's a DK weight. It's acrylic cotton combination. The final contender is one I just found. Actually, I had found it in previous years and put it in my queue, but I just now purchased it. It's a $9 pattern, but it's pretty cute. It's called the Salty Air Tea. And it looks like it would be a fast, easy make. It has sleeves that go like here, little cap sleeves. And I don't know for sure, but I believe I might use this yarn called Happy Place Melange by Hobie. And it's in a gray mist colorway. It's a very light gray. I think this would be a good neutral and something I could wear a lot with different shorts and jeans. And so that's another contender as well. And I really like the way this yarn feels. It's very squishy. But it is using size 6 needles, so it's like a DK also weight yarn. And I do have enough yarn here that I purchased earlier in the spring that I could make a top out of that as well. These are the things I'm currently thinking about, and hopefully by the next time we meet I will have started on one of these summer projects. So let me know what you're thinking about. Are there any particular tops that you are drawn to or that you have already made that you can recommend to me? I would really appreciate hearing in the comments about what you've been thinking about. Welcome to another adventure that I'm going to be undertaking with Patty Lyons in the Knitting Bag of Tricks. I read the book previously and recommended it to all of you, but I just read it on a surface level and went, yeah. Didn't go into real depth with it. I underlined a few things. But then I got to, when I met her at Yarn Barn last month, I realized that she was promoting her new workbook that goes along with the book. And Carolyn and I both realized that by going into more depth, by doing exercises in the workbook, that this knowledge would be much more accessible to us and really ingrained by doing it, much more so than just by reading it. So we both decided to do this, and as a result, this is my first month's knitting exercise that we did for chapter 1. And it doesn't look like much just looking at it here. It's not designed to be necessarily pretty. It's designed to teach us about our fabric, the fabric that we're creating while we're in the process of doing our knit and purl stitches. And we first learn in the chapter 1 about the anatomy of the stitch. You know, the knit stitch is actually fatter and wider and shorter than the purl stitch, which is long and lean and tall. And so I never realized, but she compares it to Laurel and Hardy. And for simple things I never thought about before, like, for example, that when you're doing the knit stitch, you're actually pulling one loop through another. And when you're purling, you're pushing it through. So even that simple thing I had never thought about before. And it also gets you to thinking about how you make your stitches. We take it for granted when we learn to knit. We learn a certain way that feels most comfortable for us, whether it is, continental knitting where you hold your yarn in your left hand, or whether it's the English style where you throw your yarn with your right hand. I learned as a Western knitter as a child growing up, and then later as an adult, I eventually switched over to continental knitting. And so that's what we all know is our knitting style. If someone asks what's your knitting style, I usually say I'm a continental knitter. But actually, there's more to how your fabric turns out than just the way you hold your yarn. There's a lot more to it. And she talks about, the way you wrap your yarn. If you're, wrapping it clockwise or counterclockwise, or a combination of both. Some people do combination knitting. And then another important lesson she teaches near the end of the chapter is how to avoid twisted stitches. At the very top of this, the very last part of the exercise, was we were purposely twisting our stitches and then learning how the stitches are mounted, how to get them back to not being twisted, and how to identify them quickly as twisted or untwisted. So all of these things are really fascinating to learn. And in the chapter 2, which I've already started reading in the book itself, I haven't started doing the exercise yet, but I'm going to very soon here because I'm almost finished with chapter 2. And in that chapter, she's talking about gauge, how we get gauge, how we, whether we're a tight knitter or a loose knitter, and what we do that affects gauge. So that's what I'll be doing next is the second swatch. We will leave the first swatch for a while, and we'll pick it up again later in a subsequent chapter. But I will be casting on for that next chapter 2 work, and I'm excited about it. But this is just a fun, adventurous way to learn to improve my knitting, and Carolyn and I are both enjoying the process. And I'll really be fascinated by the end of the year if we can keep up with doing one exercise a month and one chapter a month. I think that'll be a good way for us to really learn a lot in this year. The next thing I want to talk about is I've been working on my socks, the same ones I started earlier in the spring. I kind of set them aside for a while, but I am doing them, I'm knitting them in tandem. So I'm knitting one part of one sock and one part of the other so that I'll end up with 2 socks completed at the same time at the end. And right now I am, I'd kind of set them aside for a while, but I'm now up to, on sock 1, up to the gusset decreases. And for some reason, I don't know why, but I always get stalled out during the gusset decreases. For some reason, picking up those stitches and getting them reduced down to the original, number of stitches is just always kind of something I put off. And I don't know why. It's silly. But I am working on the socks. And the socks I am doing, just to refresh it in case you're interested, the Comfort Core Socks by Summer Lee. And this is a bad copy of the pattern here, but I really am enjoying these. They are like varsity type socks, and she does have a shorty version of the socks included, or the longer version, the crew size that I'm doing. Summer Lee has also written a really fun book called the Sock Project Book. Colorful, cool socks to knit and show off. I'm going to be mentioning this book a lot, I think, because it is just one of my favorite sock books I've purchased in a long time. I haven't bought very many sock books in recent years, and I've kind of gotten into a habit of just doing my basic vanilla sock, and it's gotten to be kind of boring over time, to be honest. And so I like the idea of learning different things again and trying out some very colorful, cute socks. But this is my first, this is not something that's in the book. This is, the Comfort Core Socks is a separate pattern that you can buy. And I really like the varsity look of the sock. And so, I'll be doing this. And then hopefully my next socks, probably, I'd like to do several of the ones that are in that book. I'm really enjoying that. And Carolyn, my friend, has become a sock knitting maven. She has gone so into the sock making with Summer Lee that I think in the one time I've been doing this one pair of socks, I think she's finished like 4 pairs of socks. So she's really been on a sock knitting mission lately. And they're beautiful socks. I just think she's done a great job. And so I will be motivated and inspired to try out some more Summerly socks in the coming months, and I will share them with you when I do. The next project I want to show you that I'm working on right now is this lovely shawl that is designed by Juan the Yarn Addict. He has a channel I'm really enjoying. All since spring, I've been really getting into his channel and watching a lot of things he does, but he does a tutorial on this. It's a free tutorial. There is not a written pattern, but it's a simple 4-round repeat, I guess you call it in crochet. As you can see, there's a lot of lovely texture in it. There's windows, there's little ridges, and I'm enjoying using the exact yarn that he used in his tutorial, which is the Karen Colorama Lacy yarn, which is a 4-weight yarn. It's a ribbon yarn, and so I'm enjoying using this, and it is not splitting. I've used ribbon yarn before that I wasn't really very happy with because sometimes the ribbon yarn can be very splitty, but this is not at all, and it is like almost 350 yards or something per ball, 360 yards. So with 2 of these balls, according to Juan, you can finish a shawl unless you need a really huge one. It's really up to you the size you want to do. But for me, I'm going to see how it goes with these 2 skeins. Last but not least, I haven't talked about my reading in a while, and I wanted to mention what I think would be a great summer read for some of you who are looking for a light, fun, easy read. I recently read the novella called 3 Days in June by Ann Tyler. And she's a well-known author. She wrote The Accidental Tourist and many, many books over the decades. But this one is probably only about 125 pages. So it's a novella, technically. I listened to it as an Audible, so I went through it really fast on my way to and from work. But I find it is a delightful read. It's about the story of Gail and Max and their daughter Debbie, who is getting married to her fiance. And the 3 days, the reason it's called 3 Days in June is because her ex-husband Max has come to stay with her and bringing along a cat with him because he needs to stay with her because he's there to visit for his daughter's wedding, and she agrees for him to stay there and bring the cat. So it's just I don't want to tell you too much about the plot. There's not a lot of plot there, actually. It's just a character-driven story, as so many of Ann Tyler's books are. But I found it delightful. It was just fun, and, I like the characters. Just seemed like the perfect read for summer. So if you are looking for that light summer read, I would recommend 3 Days in June by Ann Tyler. Well, I guess that's all we have for now in episode 44. I will be hopefully checking back in with you one more time before Carolyn and I go off to Fiber U. I'm really looking forward to seeing my friends again at Fiber U. I can't afford to go to Rhinebeck and some of the other larger fiber festivals that people go to, but I always enjoy going to this Fiber U, which is located in Lebanon, Missouri. If any of you are in the Midwest and can attend, it's a really fun event. It has a lot of great vendors. I'm going to be taking 4 classes, and so I think those are going to be, really good experiences, and I always love seeing my friends and staying at a wonderful hotel, and it's just so well handled. This Fiber Festival has been going on, I think for nearly 20 years, and so it's very well run, and the vendors are great, the teachers are great, people that participate in it are friendly and happy to be there, and so it's going to be a real lift for me, and I can't wait to go. But before I go there, I will check in with you again probably one more time, and I'll show you what I'm intending on bringing along with me as I go. And so, you can see the projects I'm going to bring. And let me know if there are any fiber festivals you're planning on attending this summer or coming fall, and what projects you're working on. I always like to hear about that. If you don't mind make a comment below and let me know what it is you're working on. And so again, I hope to see you again next time. Remember, as I always say, love what you're making and wear what you make. Till next time, bye everybody.